So when we're talking off-road lights, there's basically two ends of the spectrum. Very cheap lights that fog up or break after a short time, or extremely durable lights that are made for the Baja 1000, with a high price tag to match. As cool as those really high-end lights are, let's be honest, most people run them for a status symbol more than the need for a mission-critical light. The truth is, most of us need a mid-tier light with a mid-tier price, and that's where Suparee comes in. Now I will say, Suparee reached out to me and sent me these 5-inch lights for review, but they didn't tell me what to say, and I'm gonna give you my honest review. Are they perfect? Well, no. And did I run into a small issue? Well, stay tuned for that as well. But they are a great light for the price, 100%. And Suparee gave me a coupon code to pass along to you guys to save you 15%. It's down in the description. So be sure to check it out along with a full build list. So Suparee has a wide range of lights and specifically a lot of options for the entire Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator lineup. Everything from headlights, fog lights, tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, and light bars. Suparee, they've got you covered. They even have some motorized lights that you can aim with a supplied remote from inside the cab. They're really cool. I want to check them out. They've also got some lights that you can mount on bumpers or light bars for any make and model of truck or ATV. So the 5-inch lights I have are 50 watts each with a combined 16,000 lumen light output and a 6,500 Kelvin color temperature. It's a very clear, nice white light without a yellow or blue tint, and sometimes LEDs can be harsh or kind of flicker, and that's not the case with these Suparees. It's a clean and comfortable light. They have an IP67 waterproof rating, and they're made with an aluminum housing and heat sinks and a polycarbonate lens. They're rated for over 50,000 hours versus the standard 30,000 hour lifespan of the competition. They're also available in amber and in a 7-inch size as well. I opted for the 5-inch. I thought it would fit better on the JT since I mounted them by the A-pillar. I would have liked to have the additional light output of the 7-inch, but I was afraid it'd be too big and block my view some. These lights have a center spot that they call their laser light. It's a very tight 9-degree beam pattern that reaches very far out. So we just finished this trip up to Page, Arizona, and drove back at night around midnight. A lot of that drive goes through Native American reservation land. So there aren't any streetlights or buildings, and there's very little traffic. It's literally hundreds of miles of just barren desert. It's very dark. And the Suparee lights were invaluable. They lit up the road and made that drive a whole lot easier. Honestly, it took me a couple tries to focus the lights the way I liked. Those spotlights were so bright that I had to point them further down the road than I initially thought. Otherwise, I just had these two bright hot spots on the road. I did get light spill on the hood, but I found it wasn't distracting at all. I was initially concerned that it might be a problem, but it's a non-issue. It didn't bother me in the slightest. Along with the center spot, each light has 8 front LEDs for a wide pattern. These lights also have side shooters with 6 LEDs on each light, so it's 3 and 3 to light up a full 180 degrees. These lights do a great job both lighting up the road way ahead and filling in the sides. So let's get into installation. For me, it was a breeze, but I did run into a couple hiccups, and I'll let you know what those were to save you some time. Each light comes with 3 wires. The black goes to the neutral. I connected mine to the chassis ground. And don't mind the red shrink tubing. I ran out of black. I know. The red are the 8 main LEDs and side shooters, and the yellow is that center spotlight. I didn't have any documentation included, so it took me a little bit of research to kind of figure out what was what. My kit didn't come with a wiring harness or any switches, so check and see what's included when you purchase these lights. I connected the lights up to the stock Jeep aux switch, so that part was a breeze for me. I already had wire and crimp connectors and shrink tubing and wire loom, so I didn't need to purchase any of that, but I've got links to everything that you'll need in the description. You can put the center spot and the rest of the LEDs on separate switches if you want to. I opted to gang everything together to turn on all at once. So I simply wired the red and yellow wire together to the positive wire. Super simple. The light kit comes with some stout mounting brackets, and I picked up a set of light mounts on Amazon. Again, I've got links to everything in the description. For installation, simply remove the 4 cowling Torx head screws to run your wires and mount the brackets and lights. But here is where I ran into a small issue. The mounting bolts that came with the kit, honestly, they weren't the best. You can see that there's quite a bit of play between the bolt and the nut. So much so that when I tightened the bolt down, the threads jumped in one of the bolts and it stripped out and it wouldn't tighten. Honestly, it wasn't a big deal. It was just a quick trip to the hardware store and I picked up a couple 5/16 bolts and nuts and I was good to go. I needed to get some washers anyway to mount the lights to the brackets, so it really wasn't a big deal. I think it cost me like $2 for new hardware. The light itself is really solid and feels tough, and I will also say that it looks really sharp. They have some really good design features in the housing. The wiring is stout as well. So really my only knock is the mounting hardware, and that was a very simple and easy fix. So the big question, how do the lights perform? I've had these lights for a couple thousand miles now, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. We ran a week-long trip and started in Phoenix, went up to Sedona, Arizona, running Schnebly Hill, Soldiers Pass, Cliffhanger, and then over the mountain town of Jerome. And then we drove about 5 hours up to Page, Arizona, and did 3 full days of off-roading around the Vermilion Cliffs, back down to Phoenix, and then straight over to San Diego for another weekend. The Suparee lights have performed flawlessly. They've seen rain, sand, extremely rocky trails, and the intense desert heat of 115 degrees, and have been flawless. They've worked perfectly. When it comes to a great light at a great price, make sure you look at the lineup that Suparee has. I plan on purchasing quite a few more myself. So guys, that wraps things up here. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget to take advantage of that 15% off coupon code in the description and the full build list. And let me know in the comments what lights you're looking at and what you think of Suparee and how they stack up. See you next time.